It's no surprise that over the last 10 years, the comedy genre as a whole has taken a massive hit and is not really producing the quality content that we used to have throughout the early 2000s and even into the early 2010s. Every time a new comedy movie comes out, I like to give it another chance, and that has led me to seeing absolutely terrible comedies in the theater throughout this past year. And so with Over Your Dead Body, I decided not to go and see it in the theater, to wait until it came out on streaming. And boy, am I upset that I did that with this one. It's really like that meme where you're looking for diamonds and you stop right before you get to all the diamonds in the coal mine. This was a very enjoyable experience, and I'm so glad that I didn't just throw out the baby with the bathwater in terms of the comedy genre for this year as a whole. Now, this is starring Jason Segel and Samara Weaving. They play Dan and Lisa. They're a couple that is going through a ton of turmoil. They basically hate each other. They want to get divorced, but they can't because they're both trapped at this point. So they go to a cabin in hopes that each of them are planning to kill one another to collect insurance money. And that really is the entire plot of the film. Now, during this entire sequence, we get some of the best dialogue in a comedy movie that I have heard in a very long time. The first 15 minutes of this film are definitely hard to get through because they are both supposed to be insufferable. You're not supposed to be rooting for either of them. And really throughout the entire movie, I did not find myself rooting for either or, but then you start to root for both of them to survive because of the side plot that ends up happening. There is a CEO that has escaped from prison with two prisoners, one of which she is in a relationship with, and they are trying to find a place to stay. They come across the cabin, stay there. They're going to leave when they get their next move, but then they see Lisa and Dan come into this cabin. Now, before they went to the cabin, both Lisa and Dan set some pretty terrible alibis with their friends that were never going to work in the first place, and they kind of counteract each other with the ways that they're going to kill each other. Dan was going to poison Lisa and then dismember her and throw her into the ocean, whereas Lisa was going to go on a hunting trip with Dan and accidentally trip over something and shoot him, which is just ridiculous to me. Both of these ideas are terrible. They obviously wouldn't work. And to drive the plot forward, instead of them fighting each other for the entire movie, they fight each other at the beginning. Then that turns into them discovering the people that are living in the top of the house, and they start to hold them hostage and tell them that they need their money and they're not going to leave until they go and get it for them. So now it kind of puts Dan and Lisa into this, I guess, opportunity to rebuild their relationship in a very unconventional way. And we see that throughout the film. There are multiple scenes where they're trapped in a closet waiting for the killers to come and kill them. And they're, revealing a bunch of the things that have gone wrong in their relationship and the reasons why they did certain things. Lisa's telling Dan that, she just cheated on him because she wanted to know if he cared and all this stuff. Dan is basically saying that he thinks that she's a terrible actress and that was a problem and all this stuff. And they kind of start to rebuild their relationship as it goes on in a very cool way. Now, while all this is happening, we do get some, like I said, clever and intentional writing that I feel like we're missing so much in comedies. People want to throw the comedy label on a lot of different movies that are not comedies. This is a comedy that has dark themes. It's a, dark comedy, whatever you want to call it. But at the end of the day, there are still an abundance of jokes, which I feel like we have lost so much. There were multiple times where me and my girlfriend were laughing out loud so hard at some of the character development, some of the things that were being said, and it was such a lovely experience for that. I want to go over the cast here really quick. We obviously know these two as our mains. Allegra, played by Juliette Lewis, is the crazy CO that broke both of these guys out of prison. She does a great job of being like super obsessed with Timothy Olyphant, I think, who plays Pete. She is super obsessed with him, wants them to run away together, and he is very obviously using her just so that they can get further away from the prison and escape the authorities. And Keith Jardine, who plays Todd, this is like their kind of like muscle heavy, you know, meathead idiot character that's going along with them. I absolutely loved his performance. He was a standout for me. I thought that he did very, very good, and I cannot wait to see him in some other things as well. I don't think that I've ever seen him before, and I really hope that I can see him in some either more comedies or just being a badass kind of dude in general. So that was a standout for me. I really, really enjoy the way that they told this story, as they would show what was happening and then they would do flashbacks, go back to them planning all these things, or the evidence being planted, or some sort of plot device that they used before that you didn't really pick up on, and they do like a, you know, 3 days earlier sort of like cutback. And that shows you what the characters were thinking, how they were planning it. And it's sort of, it follows a linear narrative, but it keeps giving you flashbacks to all this stuff in a way that I found very, very endearing. Everything about this film is kind of what I want out of a comedy. I want a comedy to still have a good storyline and a plot. I think along the way, somewhere, a lot of people started to conflate the idea of comedies with, you know, just bad stories and bad plots. That is not how it works. You still have to write a really good plot with an ending that's not too obvious, but is kind of subverting your expectations. It's still fun. I mean, you have to give us something plus jokes. It can't just be annoying jokes all the time and us just having to get over it. I don't think that that is fair, and I think that a lot of people have, you know, really started to shit the bed on what they think a comedy is. And I'm thinking of like a movie like The Dink I just watched on Netflix, not Netflix, Apple TV, that I will be reviewing soon. It was such a great feeling to watch a comedy film that actually had a decent plot, that when you follow it at the very end of it, you go, oh man, this was just a great movie. Plus it was really funny. And that's how it was when we got to the end of Over Your Dead Body. The two, Dan and Lisa, of course, survive. They get saved by Dan's father, who is like a war veteran. He breaks out of his nursing home because somebody told him that they saw some people over at his cabin. And he steals the car of one of the nurses that he has to get by to leave. He runs over one of the goons with the car. They get into this very gruesome and bloody scene. The gore does get very crazy towards the end. And then he basically saves them, gets killed, sacrifices himself, and Jason Segel and Samara Weaving are able to escape and stay safe. After it's all said and done, they're sitting there getting their wounds like cared for by the ambulance, and they come up with an idea that they are going to use this idea or use this scenario that happened for their next film, and Samara will be in it as well as Jason Segel will be directing it. I thought that that was a very fun way, because as you get halfway through the film, you start to realize, okay, they're going to survive this and they're going to become stronger and love each other again because they're going to survive this traumatic experience together. But yes, that is true, but in reality, the career pivot turn is my favorite thing about it. I love how they used it for their benefit, and how they decided that they were just gonna lie and say that, yeah, these people just broke in, they tried to kill us, which is true, but not obviously say that they were trying to kill each other as well. I thought the entire thing was clever. I really, really enjoy seeing a refreshing movie like that. I think that all of you should go and watch it. It's on Amazon Prime. You can rent it for $6 right now, but I'm assuming that because Amazon Prime owns the rights, that eventually it will be free on the platform. But I do think that it is worth the watch, and I do think that we should not be throwing the baby out with the bathwater in terms of comedy. I'm not giving up on comedy, and if you like comedy too, you should also not be giving up on it, because if you do, then we're not going to get little nuggets like this that will prove to us that it can still be done. And the more people that watch it, the more the studios will understand this is something that we want to see. If you like this video, like and subscribe to the channel and let me know what you want me to review next. I will talk to you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.